Hello everybody, it's your boy, Checkozone here. Ignore the gamer tag, or rather PSN ID. I am gonna make a new one by the time IW hits, but since I've already got all my leveling on this account, yeah, I'm playing with this one. But nevertheless, today guys, I wanted to make a special video. This is not gonna be a gameplay commentary or a uplink throw spots or anything like that. Wait guys, first I will shut something down. As you guys can hear, I am watching Call of Duty XP. It's on right now. I'll make a video later explaining like the news. Optic are about to play Complexity, so I'll have to get this video out quite quickly. But nevertheless, let's start. So these are custom class setups for if you want to play competitive Call of Duty. They work for pubs as well. I think they're pretty good for pubs. You can use them for pubs as well. There's no restrictions or anything. So first, let's make sure I don't break any rules by going to CWL mode. Alright. First up, we have VMP. This is a sick SMG. It's probably the best submachine gun in the game. Pretty much every submachine gun player uses it unless it's banned in the ban protect phase. Now you won't need an optic as long as you're using an SMG. That's for the AR players, as the iron sights on SMGs are usually quite good. So usually what I run is primary gunfighter 1 and quick draw, grip and stock. The quick draw makes it so that you have more dexterity and that you can aim down the sights faster, giving you an advantage against your opponents. Grip, obviously, you know what it does, it reduces recoil. Recoil is basically the change in bullet patterns. And stock, basically you can maneuver while aiming down the sights better or quicker. So like if you're playing on like a 5 sensitivity, it increases a little bit. You know, I'm just gonna throw on one of my camos on this. I usually like to run the optic one. As my perks, I like to run Afterburner. However, if I'm playing SnD, I tend to go with the flak jacket because people tend to spam grenades. But for now, let's make this a respawn class. Then I almost always run fast hands. All of these perks are pretty useless in my opinion. Scavenger is pretty bad because you're going to end up dying along competitive because your opponents are going to be smarter than average pubs players. Cold-blooded, I mean, it's alright. This one is actually alright if you're playing SND, because if you didn't ban out the thermal sight in SND, you can always use this to counter the thermal snipers on the opposition team. Hardwired, it makes you immune to EMP grenades pretty much, and smoke screens. I think that only gets you immune to like your minimap. Like if you walk into a smoke screen, an enemy smoke screen, then it'll act as a counter UAV, so you won't be able to see your minimap properly. And anti-op, it gives you like I think 100-point boost in score streak. It's pretty useless. So now a lot of people don't run awareness because blast suppressor is way more useful. I use blast suppressor on almost all my class setups. It is pretty much vital for any game mode. So for respawn, I run this. I run an RK5 and an EMP grenade. You can run a concussion, or you can even run a frag or a Semtex. Thermite or combaxes are not recommended, but I run EMP and RK5. But if it's SND, I screw that and I put on Dead Silence. Dead Silence is an extremely useful perk which makes it so that the enemy can't hear your footsteps as well. However, if I'm playing a map like Evac for example, or like Infection, I tend to turn off Afterburner and just go for the frag or trophy system, which pretty much prevents all frags within 10 meters. It just destroys them. but since it's a respawn class so far, I'll run with the Afterburner. That's our first class done. Now let's go for our AR respawn setup. So the two primary guns I would recommend is the Shiva and the MA. The Shiva, though, I only recommend is if either the MA gets banned in the ban protect or you have really good aim. Like, you need good aim for this rifle. It's pretty much vital. So on the MA, one side note by the way, you won't get to use high caliber and rapid fire most of the time, as that is one of the most common ban in the competitive meta. It's been that for forever. I personally run reflex, quick draw and stock. However, there are actually a lot more variables to keep in mind. Some people throw on the primary gunfight and add long barrel, and some straight up, for example, go long barrel and quick draw. But if you're going to run long barrel, I recommend stock, as it's pretty much it's necessary on ARs to have more dexterity and be able to hit your shots. But like I said, I'm going with quick draw and stock. And also the sights, you can also run the ELO sight. It's a very capable sight, but it's basically down to personal preference which one you feel you aim better with. The Varix 3 sights and the Recon sights used to be very overpowered, but it has since been nerfed. So on this class I do actually run a pistol, as well as Afterburner, Fast Hands, Blast Suppressor, and Dead Silence for SnD, and for respawn I run this with Flak Jacket, or I run a frag and an EMP grenade. But I personally like to run flak, as it's pretty effective for protecting yourself from explosive damage, which is very common in the competitive meta. So these are our these are supposed to be our respawn classes, RK5 and EMP grenade. So basically these are the two classes you want to use. Mainly support players will use the VMP. Basically there are three roles in competitive. An OBJ, the objective player, the player that gets flags, the player that carries the bomb most of the time, the player that does the dirty work. The support player, which supports the OBJ, it kind of sticks by him a lot. Like, it opens up the round. Like, it gets entry frags for the OBJ to enter in and get the objective. And a Slayer, a support player can also support them, you know, give them extra coverage, but a Slayer mostly gets spawns, gets frags for their team, you know, so that they can outslay the opponent and have more of an advantage. Slayers most commonly run an AR. I think it's pretty much common. Right now the meta is 3 ARs, 1 SMG, except on Breach, which is split 2 SMGs, 2 ARs. Obviously you can put a sniper in there somewhere. So that is the competitive meta. But you know what? If you have an innovation, if you want to run 3 SMGs and 1 AR on something like, I don't know, Fringe, which is highly unrecommended, then go for it, you know, if you found a weak point, if you found some way to take advantage of it. For SND, I pretty much do the same thing. Oh, and in this case, some people, I know some of my friends run extended mags, and they run stock instead of grip, and others use long barrel as well. But since I've been using stock, I cannot use my VMP without stock. Every time I play pubs, like, I think I'm gonna have to perma unlock Primary Gunfighter 1, because I just can't live without this stock. For SND, I tend to run, like I said, for SND I tend to run Flak Jacket, run Fast Hands as well, Blast Suppressor and Dead Silence. So yeah, this is my competitive SND SMG class. So this is if you're a support player on OBJ, or how if you want to be scumpy, so you can use that. This is my SnD AR class. So like I said, I'll build it off the M8 once more. Reflex, quick draw, stock, and perk 1 afterburner, perk 2 fast, actually flak jacket, blast suppressor, dead silence, and I will run a RK5 just for coverage. And one note with the perks, you can turn off fast hands. You can, but it's the second most crotch perk in the game outside of blast suppressor. If you think your gun skill is superior to everyone in the lobby, if you're absolutely sure you can outslay your opponent, switch out for a trophy system. But that's only if you think you're really skillful. Even if I think I can outslay the opponent, judging from their playstyles in the earlier rounds, I may run one class without fast hands, but mostly I stick to my roots and run a class with it. And last of all, this will be the sniper setup. So you can either go for two ways. You can either have a VMP with quick draw and stock, and then you go on the overkill and you get a sniper rifle. Now, this is actually a unique situation, as except the Dracon, all of these snipers are pretty much viable. Even the P06, a lot of pros really like to use the P06, even though I think it's kind of fluky, but oh well. I think it charges quicker than the SVG. The Locust and the SVG are the ones that are most used though, but most pros stick to the SVG. And the only attachment you're going to need is thermal. Now the reticule is actually really important. You know, it's down to personal preference. I recommend trying out a ton of reticules on your SVG, but the most common are the default or stage fright. I personally use stage fright whenever I do use the SVG, but that's just down to personal preference. For this class I go with afterburner. You are going to need an afterburner for this, just because of the fact you're going to have to do insane wall runs, which will require a lot of your thruster pack to get some lines of sight so that you can take down your opponents. I'd also recommend fast hands for this as well, obviously. And to be honest, I would go with blast suppressor, just in case an enemy sneaks up on you. Since we don't have enough room for another perk, we might as well go with something along the lines of a smoke screen, so you can take advantage of that thermal. But I still tend to go safe and get the trophy system. But you don't have to go with that actually. You can just straight up get a sniper, put thermal on it, get an RK5 preferably with extended mags or long barrel on RK5, or an LK9 with extended mags or long barrel. I prefer the RK5. If you're feeling lucky, I don't know, you can run the MR6. I mean, high score is alright. And you've only used up 4 of your class slots, which is vital for putting some perks in that you may or may not want. So I recommend afterburner, fast hands, blast suppressor. You can also put in dead silence in case you're clutching. And you know, some people don't actually run the extended mag. Some people also run the Varix 3, but just for safety, extended mags, then I'll put a trophy system. Or if you don't think you'll be very mobile, you can always go for something like tac mask or flak jacket. So yeah, there you go. So that is the sniper class. So like I said, these are the 2 classes for respawn: hardpoint, uplink, and CTF. These are the ones for SND. You know, side note about the sniper class, you should only have 1 sniper ever, and you should be farther away from the mag. Don't rush if you're a sniper. Let the enemy rush into you so you can get an easy shot. Players that you want to watch if you want to be better at